There you go. There's a change.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do the consent agenda.
Program proposal.
We need to make that change now.
Yeah.
So reviewing the agenda.
Second academic program proposal.
Yeah, under where I talked about the academic proposals, I need to add the certificate for biotechnology. It's in the actual proposal, so you would have gotten it. It's just not on the agenda for approval.
I'll need a motion to modify the agenda.
So moved.
Been properly moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Motion carried. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No nays. Motion passes. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Properly moved. Do I have a second?
A second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Agenda and our program update tonight comes for construction technology with Richard Burns. So Richard.
How are you?
You bet. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I know LJ does. I think a couple of you have seen around. Some of you, I think, went to my home show and saw my students out at the home show. Father put it on, Flint Hill Building Association. I work real close with them. They're part of my built team. If it wasn't for my built team, I wouldn't have a program. Built team is the core. They help me out. They buy my students their tools. They give me uniforms for my guys to wear. So when we're at a job, we're at Habitat for Humanity, they know what we are. We're a sea of maroon. Now, a lot of you don't know about my curriculum or my program, so I think I'll talk about it real quick. I have a standalone program. I came here in 2018 from Washburn University. I started my program. I brought in NCCER curriculum. My students get OSHA 30 versus OSHA 10. That's what we're looking for in supervisors and foremen out in the field is OSHA 30. So I brought that on board. I'm an OSHA instructor, so I can do that in class. It's not an online course, so they get it face-to-face. They understand it. They get that OSHA 30 certification. They get 6 certifications through my NCCER program. NCCER stands for National Center for Construction Education and Research. National-wide curriculum. The beginning part of it is nice because they get that out of the way, they get that OSHA out of the way. And if they decide, hey, I don't want to be a carpenter, and they want to be a welder or an HVAC or some other trade, guess what? They got the first part of that program out of the way and then go right into the meat of it all. Not only that, I get them MEWP certified. Anybody know what that stands for? Probably not. This is a new term. It's elevated work platforms, mobile elevated work platforms. Used to be forklift training, but now we train them on scissor lifts. We train them on boom lifts, and 5 different forklifts. That is made possible by somebody from my built team, Jared Wilk. I don't know if you're familiar with Jared or not. Great guy. I work close with Mike Cruz, his safety manager, and we work together and we go out at case and we get all my students certified through that. Another partner I have is Hilti Tools. They come out, get my students powdered actuated certified on certain tools that we use out in the job. Kansas 811 comes out. We get them certified through Kansas 811. You need to call them before you do anything in construction, right?
Yep.
So when they leave my program, they are stock full of those certifications. And in my mind, when they see them certifications, it's like, hey, you know what you're doing. I love it. By mid-semester, all my students are hired. So by second semester, I'm working around their work schedule. Here's the thing. I partner with Habitat for Humanity. So we build houses for Habitat for Humanity. We've already built one. we're getting ready to build another one. We're kind of behind on, and you'll be getting it. We're kind of behind on the bills, and but it's coming. During this partnership with Habitat for Humanity, I partnered with K-State. How I did that was I was on 2 K-State boards. I still am, affordable housing and solar development. By getting on these boards and being a director of these boards, I've got to meet a lot of individuals at K-State. I work real close with Mike Gibson. He is the architect and design professor at K-State. We've combined our partnerships with Job Corps, K-State students, and HBI at Fort Riley. We work together as, because now I'm also a director on the board of Habitat for Humanity. So I've got all this partnership together, and we built a net zero house, and we just dedicated it actually the day of our graduation in December. Was it December? Yeah. And this partnership has worked out great. It's opened the doors for my students. It's opened the doors for their students. Not only do they learn design and architecture, they actually now get to work with actual carpenters out of my program and see where things quite doesn't work in both areas. So it's been a great partnership. Like I said, we worked the home show. That was just a month ago, and worked that through Glen Hills Area Building Association. And the nice thing about the home show, my students get to come out, we get to set it up. They get to meet all these other contractors that they didn't get to see before, because I got the big ones. I got McCall Gordon, VHS. These are the big guys, KBS, Schultz, right? He ain't here to rep, but no what. I got the big guys, but the home show is the little guys, right? So they get to network, and we get to set it up. We get to help them set up their own booths. They got to help set up, I don't know if you know Alan Weddle. We got to help set up his booth at the home show, and he actually came and presented today on Tesla shingles. He did a 3-hour presentation on Tesla shingles, and my students were blown away. But what does that do? That opens avenues. It opens the avenues up for them, because, hey, not all of them are going to be carpenters. You know, some of them may go into safety, some of them may be roofers, some of them may lay tile. But I open those avenues, and I get people in there to talk. So that's what my program is about. At the end of the year, my build team is so nice that they come together and they put 3 prizes, okay, and they're called pack outs, and they're just all cordless tools in a pack out. And my 3 top students win those pack outs. Now, it's not all grades, it's not all leadership. It may be a student that started out poorly and got better as time went on, or a student that just excelled. I give all that information to my build team. We sit down, we decide, and at the end of the year, we give those free packages away. And it's really nice to start out, you know, with a nice pack out when you get out in the field. So let me see. What else did I forget to talk about? Oh, my enrollment. 2018, I came here, I had 8 students. I mentioned to Jim that, hey, get me on board. I'm going to double that every year. I doubled it every year. Now I'm at 25. I've already got 14 signed up for next year. I've had 3 tours already this week of new students. People want my program. They understand there's a need for carpenters out there. I've proven that it's going to get filled. How do I do that? I reach out to the high schools. Manhattan, Danny, that does the shop program there. I got him NCCER certified, so he can teach my program there. Robert Thomas at Rock Creek. Actually, last year, taught out at Rock Creek to show them how well this program can work in their system. Brandon Fitzemeyer at Clay Center got him certified. They all can do my program, and that kind of is like a feeder system to me for local kids. Because what do we want? We want them local kids. We want them here. We want to get them trained, and we want them to work here in Manhattan or a surrounding area. So that's worked out great. A lot of footwork on my part, but you know, that's how it's done. That's how we increase enrollment for these programs. So that's pretty much all of mine in a nutshell. And that's a lot of information real fast. And some people say I talk fast. I don't know. But if you have any questions, you're welcome to shoot them at me.
Getting back to your Habitat for Humanity, when you said net zero, that means there's no income back to us.
Also, net zero means this is a SIP panel, structured insulated panel home. The walls are about this thick of insulation, and we put a solar panel on it. So not only is it self-sufficient off the grid, kinda, it's actually sending money back to, or energy back to Evergy. Now, they don't get any money for that because of Kansas laws, but still, they're not with a high electric bill. Hopefully that'll change in the future when it comes to solar and it'll get more popular. But that's what a net zero is.
Do most of them come in thinking carpentry?
Yes, they come in thinking carpentry, but then halfway through, they're like, hey, I like this better. And it may be something like sheetrock. Because we go from residential to commercial and we go from the ground up. Build a floor, build a wall, build joists, rafters, sheathe it, roof it, sheetrock it, stairs, trim, cabinets. I built these connections in the past because I used to build houses out of Lawrence, Kansas. And I got Custom Woods to donate $40,000 worth of cabinets to Habitat because they know me. And that allows me to, from the classroom, learn about cabinets to go out on a job site and really install cabinets. So they get the hands-on, not like just a shop. We do it in the shop too. And we'll learn about it in the class. We do it in the shop, but then we get to do it for real with Habitat. And that's how great this partnership is. So actually get that hands-on.
Thanks.
Okay, you mentioned a bunch of different schools. I'm gonna bring it up.
You bet.
How do we tie in to Junction City High School?
How?
Yes,
Me in there.
I know we just had a change in principal for the second time.
Yep.
So
1 year.
I'll get with you and we can see if I can get you in the building. That's no problem.
That's all I need. Give me a door. I can sell ice to that still. They'll do.
Tell them that.
Chris has reached out and already trying to build that rapport and have those conversations.
Any help you guys need, I'll work with that too. But like I said, we just changed principals again, 1 year in the job. Yep.
I think we're kind of doing that on Wamigos again too, right?
Yeah, they got a new administration.
Yeah, we're kind of in the process there too.
Chris has got his hand raised.
What, Chris?
Go ahead, Chris. Yeah, you're muted, Chris.
No, I was just, sorry, probably not the safest thing in the world, but no, I was just saying, yeah, I was clapping that, yes, we're trying to get with the new administration over in Junction City and see if we can get some construction or welding or something going.
Okay, and I personally know the superintendent over there, so I'll make some calls this week and see if we can get something scheduled real quick.
I'd love to come visit one of our Habitat sites.
So with your program, is there a corner missing? Anything to make the program better tomorrow?
So what we're doing, I didn't get a chance to start it this year. Full deck, but next year we're gonna implement Procore. Procore is a digital blueprint reading and design, and I'll get everybody certified in that too. Just another thing they can stick in their hat, right? Haven't got that done this year. Reason is I want to get a welder instructor, HVAC instructor, a bunch of other people certified through Procore and set in a group. And that logistics didn't quite happen this year because they can become teachers. And I would love a welding student to be Procore certified. I love the HVAC student to be Procore certified. So it's another thing when they go out, because that's what's out there, right? In the construction site. What you're holding in your hand are prints. Yeah. So that's kind of what my future looks like for next year, right? I'm going to implement that. So.
Richard, anybody have any other questions?
Do any of the kids do a dual transition like carpentry and HVAC or
I have had that.
welding?
It's usually the students with a GI Bill. They'll try as many things as they can until they find their niche. And I had one last year, and he took to carpentry a lot better than he did HVAC. Nothing against HVAC. He said, I wanted to try carpentry too. And he did it. And he says, I love this. More hands-on. You get a better result, right? You take a pile of wood, you build a house, and you can stand back and go, yeah, that's what I did. HVAC, he didn't try to get the thrill, more or less. But it helped him out too, because now he's got the HVAC background and the construction background. Yeah, he's already working. He's out there making some good money. So actually in Arizona.
You have or have had some young ladies in the program too, correct?
That's right. This is my first year I have a married couple. I have a
How's that
husband,
going?
well, I scared me to death. First, it's like, oh God, what if they fight? What do I do? Gotta get a taser. But no, I have a married couple's doing great. I actually have 3 other women in my program doing great. They know that, hey, there's no limits in construction. I was probably one of the first framing crews in Lawrence, Kansas to have women on my framing crew. So I'm well aware that they can do the job almost even better than me. So yeah, I love it. And more people, when they come and do tours, they see that and the word gets out. It's kind of nice.
Great. What about bringing your graduates back? You said they're about halfway through, they already have a job. Are you bringing those students back to talk successes in career, what they're seeing out in the field?
Yeah, you bet. You bet. I had a student 2 years ago, Donnie Thompson. He took to sheetrock like a duck to water. I was like, have you ever done this before? And he's like, oh. I said, oh, you need to do it. You know? And he went in to finish in sheetrock. And I actually had him come back and demonstrate. As you know, hey, I'm a past student. Let me show you what I learned and now how well I do it. And he actually demonstrates. I have a lot of students that come back and do that. He's just one of them, for an example.
I know we had talked about before getting some testimonials on our website. Students like that, we need to have them come back, just take a picture of them and talk about, you know, what they learned here, how it's working for them, and you know, that kind of thing. It just shows your program even more on the website. So
Brian and I are working on maybe doing a video, maybe getting on the what is it, the ACG, the Contractors Association. They have a nice website, and they've allowed me, the vice president, to reach out and say, Rich, what do you want? I said, I want to be on your website. I want a video, you know, put me right up there, #1. By the way, my program reached #1 status this year. So we are the #1 status in the state of Kansas.
great.
So that's a great for MATC. But yeah, I got these people reaching out to me now because they're like, hey, you know, we didn't know you were with them. I said, yeah, I've been with them, you know, but problem is, the more I get out and the more networking I do, and the more partnerships I make with these other communities, I tell you, it's great for MATC. It's great. And I don't know how many times people will pull over at our habitat sites and say, we love the fact that you're building. So actually we're building in Ogden right now, and they just love the fact that something's happening in Ogden, right? But I want to do it we've done it in Manhattan, we're doing it in Ogden. I want to do it in Junction City.
We will.
I want to do it in Clay Center. I want to get out. I want these communities to see us, see MATC and Habitat. You know, that's what that partnership's all about. And now working with K-State, working with HBI and Job Corps is even better. Job Corps has been a struggle because of COVID, of course. Government locked them down. So when they get out, they're ready to go. Still a great partnership.
Thank you, Richard. Good work.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate everything you're doing, Richard. Keep it up,
Appreciate
man.
it. Okay.
Great job.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
It's always good to be done in Johnson County on the ranking.
I like to be Washburn.
Okay, Jim, you're up next.
Yeah, next, we got a proposal to enter into an agreement with Train, the HVAC company, put in an energy management system on our main building. It also gives us their curriculum for data analytics, so we can put that in as a program probably in the fall of 23. And introduce that. Data analytics is one of the statewide areas of emphasis to help drive more people to computer science and IT. We have credentials available through the NC3 that we already work with. The energy management stuff will help us extend the life of existing equipment, manage our data better, as well as become the living lab for the data analytics part. Josh, why don't you jump in on the energy management?
Yeah, so I think we talked about it in some past board meetings. We've been looking at several solutions, with train being one of them. And we did get a chance to do a really good demo over at the K-State Alumni Center with train there, and with those there that are actually using the system. And it was really great to see. And we had several questions for them. You know, a big one I had, if you see in the proposal that a lot of folks have questions about, is it all communicates over wireless? Well, so is that on the Wi-Fi, or how's that work? It's all proprietary to train, separate from our wireless. So it talks on its own network, so we don't have any issues with that. There's tons of built-in analytics after it starts to learn your building and your system, CO2 levels and occupancy of rooms, then it'll start to make adjustments and help. That's when you start seeing the environmental impact and some of those savings. So it's kind of almost an AI system for your HVAC for your building. So yeah, it's great.
Is it a protected system to where, you know, I can't hack into the wireless part of it?
Yeah, so it still sits behind our firewall.
Okay,
And then we'll have kind of a user management system, and we'll break that out into our authentication system we already use, because we will have to grant access to some student groups and things for that analytics piece, but that's totally kept separate from the actual controller piece.
Okay.
So there's kind of two pieces: the analytics server, you could call it, that just hosts the data, the long term, and you can go through the charts and the graphs and see when, you know, we use the most energy, how we could have been more efficient. And then there's the actual control piece where our maintenance guys will interact with day to day, updating the schedules, increasing, changing thresholds and things like that.
is this type of system that we could tie in with mechanical engineering at K-State with their HVAC stuff to help their
Possibly.
analytics? And
Before I jump there, this qualifies, the reason there's only one bid, if you will, on this, under this OMGA that you see in the packet, that qualifies it as a sole source related because of the proprietary nature of train and data analytics in C3. The curriculum piece is to me a bonus, because we'll get to put that in as a program, start charging tuition fees, but as again, it's training people, especially high school students, middle students, and others. And it's also a program that cuts across programs, because it doesn't matter what program you're in anymore. You gotta learn how to look at data and analyze it. Train reached out to Josh about meeting at K-State because of what they're doing there. Over the last, well, since our last board meeting, I think we've had 3 different groups of K-State people on our campus, including the Dean's Council, who's here a week ago yesterday. So I'm cautiously optimistic there's some breakthroughs happening about some collaboration. But the Dean of Engineering, when he was here for the Dean's meeting, I took him over to our critical environment lab and the new Festo lab. And I could see him getting green, because they don't have that kind of hands-on stuff. In fact, when Sarah and I toured some stuff at K-State as part of a group of potential business coming to town, you look at our classrooms, yeah, you know, I'm always talking about we're low on resources, low on this, but we have modern technology. And I'm not knocking K-State, but they still have blackboards. Well, they're so big, they can't afford to replace all the blackboards. But the K-State folks were just blown away with what we have in biotech, in critical environment tech, industrial engineering tech. And so as part of that conversation with the deans, we started talking about the value added approach, where they could plug in their students to some of our modules and courses, or particular courses, not a whole program. So I do think some of that collaboration will finally happen.
And one other thing to note with using Train as the software and the controller, it doesn't lock us into Train units. So as we go down the road of replacing rooftop units, yeah, we can go with Train, and maybe that will make the most sense. However, it doesn't lock us to them. They can mount their controller on any unit. In fact, that's what this is. It's just retrofitting. We have probably 5, 6 different brands up there right now, and they're going to connect each one of those to get that data. And then moving forward, we're still open to do that if we want to go with somebody else, as well as maintaining what we currently have. We can use local vendors. It doesn't really lock us in with them with anything except the curriculum piece and the data analytics.
In fact, we had our current normal repair company, Thermal Comfort, visit with Train and Josh. So they know what we're doing, because again, they'll be our first line of contact. But again, this qualifies to use we have two pockets of funds, as you'll see in the recommendation. We can do either the HERF funds, from federal stimulus, or we have the MOE funds. We have to spend the MOE funds by the end of this June. The HERF funds has been granted another 12 months extension. So we'll probably use MOE funds. But it will allow us to start putting in place that energy management focus on utilities, quality of air, as well as that data analytics curriculum.
And the cost on here at the bottom.
My request is just to add second year into the proposal. So what I'm asking for is approval for $101,020. Either total net price of $94.20 and then $7,000 for at year 2.
Are they thinking there's gonna be an increase between that year 2 and year 3?
It's a lot.
Well, I'm just trying to hang on to some of those funds for.
Understood.
And the other piece to that is that additional, that's for the analytics and the controller piece. If you were to lose that or that piece goes away, that's not the heart or the controller piece of the system. That's all the data analytics, the curriculum, and that side.
Okay. So basically, this train system is just an operating system for whatever hardware that we have in place.
Correct.
It doesn't matter if it's carrier or train or.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah, they have a little front end piece that they can connect to any of those carriers, and then that talks back. Yeah. Okay. Now they did mention, some of our older units have less data points available.
Right.
You're going to get very basic functionality compared to as we upgrade the new ones. They were showing, it's sky's the limit how much data you can get back.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? If not, we will need a motion to approve the $101,020. $1,020 for the train proposal.
So
Been properly moved. A second.
A second.
Properly moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it, motion passes.
Next thing is tuition and fees for the next fiscal year. And we have Mike Boxberger on my Zoom. He's worked with Sarah, Kara, Josh, and I, and with Carmela to keep it in a similar format to what you've seen in previous years. As you know, tuition and fees is the only source of revenue, if you will, that we can control. Now, since it's an election year, there's a 50-50 chance the legislature will get a budget put together early. And there's a chance the governor will approve it early compared to previous years where we don't get a budget till June, July, or August.
Like tomorrow?
It's possible, but even if the legislature passes it, I think the governor's going to take her time going through it. We're enrolling people, for summer and fall now. So we took a looking at our programs. You've seen the spreadsheet in the packet. Josh is pulling it up there. And talking to my colleagues around the state, they're kind of like I am. You hate to raise tuition fees, and yet it's the only thing where we can't control revenue. We know we're going to have insurance increase, health insurance increase. We're gauging between 10 and 15%. Utilities aren't going down. Consumables aren't going down. Nothing's going down. Inflation is taking a beating on everybody who's buying anything, and, trying to look out for our employees. So we had a long discussion about looking at what we can do. You should also keep in mind with Excel and CTE, which is what we do at the high schools. Under that state law, we are prohibited from collecting fees from the high school students. We get reimbursed for tuition by the state. So what we're recommending, as you've seen in the information, is the higher option 4 with it. Overall, it's a 10% proposed increase in tuition. And then there's an increase in fees. But it's an overall, because we don't collect all of the fees that we could collect because high school students, it's an overall increase in tuition and fees of approximately 7.63%. In my 7 years here and in my previous years, Kansas in particular, before that, my memory starts fading. When any college I've been at where we've raised tuition and fees, it has not had a negative impact on enrollment. In fact, I've had members of the legislature this year that have testified say, people who come to you know they're getting good jobs, you can charge all you want. They're on the universities to not charge anymore, but however, at the same time, we have to be cognizant of some of our programs. There are caps on all our programs related to the way you get federal financial aid. And so you look at something like auto tech, the first semester is very costly because of the tools they get. Same thing with EPD, et cetera. So we take a look at trying to adjust with those programs that are near that cap or over the cap, and that tuition increase may be a little less. We also deliberately have not proposed raising tuition on general education courses to keep us competitive with community colleges, get that subsidized through their local tax revenues. But we believe option 4, even though it's quite high, is designed to help us with the growth we're looking at, the expansion we're looking at, and taking care of our people to help us bring in the revenue we need. We still don't know what the legislature will do. It looks favorable. And our lobbyists for the tech colleges is working diligently with all the conference committees this week. There has been support among the legislature for differences in specifications, but there's support to fund the gap, which would mean more money for us. There is the Senate Tax Committee did pass their version of the tax credit bill out of the blue, but it's different than what the House approved last year. So that's going to conference committee. And it looks like there will be an increase for the qualifying technical colleges and community colleges on capital outlay. But none of that is set in stone. If the conference committees can't come to an agreement, it's not going to budge. And then there's also the chance that the governor could line item veto it. So again, I come back to this. This is the only thing we can control.
How much online training classes do we do, and are we in line with others? I'm seeing no change on the online rates.
The courses that we do that are strictly online is OSHA 10 and general education. None of our technical courses are strictly online. Those are blended. So they utilize the Canvas system for flexibility, adaptability, things of that nature, but they have the hands-on component. And so the only classes that are straight online are the general education courses. So, and that tuition we're not changing.
We're holding that.
Okay. And we're holding it because then that continues to make us competitive with the high schools or with the community colleges when we're offering those courses within the high school.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one thing I argue over.
I want to make sure that
Yeah.
we weren't missing something.
In past practice, Mike and Heather as new members, when we work on the next budget, besides the tuition and fee recommendation, we're also building the budget flat. So we're assuming no new enrollment. Because no matter what Neil does to drive enrollment to us, he can't control it. And we, in my career, higher ed enrollment kind of goes like this. So we budget flat, hope we get a pleasant surprise, but if we get a negative surprise, it's not as much of a hit.
And our fees are fairly comparable to other tech colleges.
Yeah, we're a tad above the middle with them. Most of them are raising fees this year. Some are raising tuition and fees.
Without option 4, without any of these options, what are the obvious pain points? What happens?
Well, if we left tuition and fees flat, we would probably start the budget in the hole because the health insurance increase, utilities increase, and then with negotiations, where are we with salaries, et cetera? Ballpark figure, we'd probably be starting out somewhere 50 to 100,000. Again, based on flat enrollment.
mentioned the financial aid considerations. We foresee any issues with what we're doing now, not impacting that. And then the flexibility by program. I see how you have them laid out here. That's just proposed now. Or can we still tweak that later if you guys?
So we can't tweak it later.
Okay, once it's approved, it's approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then our staff has to build out the charge tables for the courses. So they can start running students' bills for financial aid, et cetera. Yes, when we do this, we take a look at those higher cost programs and adjust things.
And the return on investment.
So, I mean, most of them are significantly higher if we look at the current compared to what you.
And if the federal budget proposal of the president is approved, there's an increase in Pell Grants. So that will cover some of this increase as well.
Okay.
I think one of the bigger hits with the budget, with the fees, when you're looking at the fees themselves, is that the high school students who take our technical programs don't pay fees. We can't charge them fees, and we're eating quite a bit.
Right.
When you talk about our hands-on, and you talk about consumables and the equipment that is needed to appropriately train these individuals, preparing them for reports, which we do very well. #1 construction program, #1 nursing program, that doesn't come cheap, and we're eating that cost. That cost is somewhat going back on our regular undergraduate students because we still have to purchase those items to cover the number of students that are in the class. So we're trying to think ahead in the fact that not only are the programs going to have to look at their fees, but we're additionally having to look at institutionally with technology and, with capital funding and things of that nature. That we need a plan for.
And that's why we're proposing raising tuition higher, because we do get paid the tuition rate. Questions?
So high, we're looking at about what, $30 increase. Bunch of them are about $24.
Right, just scroll down to the fees part.
Yeah.
So you'll see option 3.
Yeah.
You see a breakdown there of where the fee money goes. It's split into other costs. So for instance, assessment, which again is the one thing we got dinged a little bit by accreditation, everybody does, but we need to put some funding into that. IT, a big area, of course, with everything we're doing, and get up the cost from Title III. So we don't have the Title III grant resources this year. Security, it's not just our security guard, that's helping with other areas of security as well. We have the Safe Defend
Camera system.
camera system, so all of that. We're proposing an increase on the capital outlay maintenance side because again, of what we're doing with Wamego here. Part of that is if the legislature and the governor approve more appropriations for capital outlay for us, it has a 50% match. Right now, we get about $125,000 a year for capital outlay from the state. We have to match it around 60 to 65,000. Depending upon where any increase would go, and it's possible from the calculations I've seen, we could get anywhere from a total of $250,000 to close to $500,000. Well, we want that, but we have to do the 50% match. So that's why we're being strategic, adding a little more in that area. A little bit for graduation fees. Student improvements relates to the students get to help decide furniture and things that we put up for them. Student organizations, library, TLC, testing center, we've adjusted that because we're going to need more personnel in the testing center. We're getting more and more clients, got the safeguards in place. Student services, and then Carmel and I try to put some back in reserve. So yeah, it is a significant increase, but it's designed to give us the resources we need to handle expansion and the growth that we anticipate. Scroll back over to the other.
Sorry, 80. And
So we're talking about $10 increase.
Fees.
That's where it seems now. That's
yeah,
where
that's correct.
Yeah. I just kind of get a comparison of how much we're asking. It's good to see that.
Need a motion to approve it.
All right,
Option 4 for tuition and option 3 for
we will accept a motion for option 4 is recommended and option 3 for fees.
So motion.
Yeah. Properly moved. Motion. Second. Second. Properly moved to second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Sarah?
Okay, so, Jim we've been continually talking about the industrial engineering technology program. A while ago, we got the grant from the Commerce to put in the Festo Lab. This is the Festo Lab curriculum. And we got all the courses through and created and approved. So now what we need to do is we need to create that Associate's Applied Science degree and certificate so that the students actually coming in are on a degree pathway track. They will qualify for financial aid. And it's gone through our advisory committee, it's gone through our internal governance. So now it comes to you guys for approval. So we're looking at an Associate's Applied Science degree, and then with all of our programs, we have a certificate option. So then that way, if students coming in don't transfer in any general education courses, or they may not have the funds, or they may not have the time at the moment to complete the AAS, that we can still count them as a completer when they complete the technical pieces.
And students in other programs like construction, trades, HVAC, et cetera, may take a certificate to get that value added part of industrial engineering.
Any questions or discussion? Anybody had a chance to look at it? I will accept the motion to approve changes to industrial engineering technologies for Associate Applied Sciences Certificate C.
Make that motion.
Okay, been properly moved. Do I have a second? Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion passes.
And the addition change I asked for the agenda is with the biotechnology. So we've had a biotechnology program. It has been on hold for a little bit, because our focus was on critical environments technology. And due to some of the things that are coming to the Manhattan area and requests that we're getting from the industry, is we created a biotechnology certificate A. We have an Associate's Applied Science degree, which allows students to go through and then they can be biotechnicians working in laboratories. The certificate A is specific in regards to the actual students that we see coming into the program. So typically what we see is those bachelor's degree students who've gotten a bachelor's in micro or chemistry, and they don't know how to operate within a lab setting. And so we had a 2-year certificate, and what we've done is we picked out the very specific pieces that the industry is looking for them to have knowledge and skills in, and created a 1-semester certificate. So then that way, instead of doing another year of schooling, they get their bachelor's degree, they come here for 1 semester, and at the same time they can work. And it's only 17 hours, so it's very flexible, and they can get the training that they need to be able to work within the laboratory safely.
I don't know how much information the board has. I had not. But there are some discussions about, Sarah kind of talked around it a little bit. New businesses, things like that, that come into the area, which is driving the need for these things. So we're trying to stay ahead of the game and be relevant when these things happen. And like I said, we've been getting questions about what we can do to support that. So really important. Jim, you want to add anything on that? I know we can't talk about much of it.
Well, biotech, the people that were here, was before Sarah and I were here, when NBAF was announced, they went after the NSF grant for biotech. It's been way ahead of the curve. Finally, the curve is catching. The other key thing is we've had conversations the last several years with K-State, and it's taken them a while because of academics to realize they see, because the need they have for medical lab tech people, biotech people, they've got to figure out how to wire those people back to us. So again, as we had a discussion with the deans the other day, they realized to get some of the workforce they need, they've got to drive people over to take this training from us. So this will help with that. It will help with again, with NBAP, what K-State's working on as far as food safety, as far as their economic prosperity plan, and these are some of the talks I've been able to have with the new president. They're realizing we're part of that equation related to skilled workforce.
It's a really ignorant question. A new guy question.
No, sir.
No,
So the certificate, is that the structure and process, is that a MATC function?
It's a higher ed function, it's less than a degree.
Okay.
So Cert A, Cert B,
it's K-Board's way of kind of classifying how many credit hours are within the different levels.
Got it.
So certificate A is anything less than 30, between 15 and 30.
credit.
And then credit hours, and then you go up, and then there's a B level, and then there's a C level, and then you've got your overall AAS, which is 60, a minimum 60.
Across the board for anyone who wants to offer this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Got it.
Then there are also for your education.
Thank you.
There's also what are called SAPs, which are even shorter certificate programs,
Less than 15.
and they don't generally qualify for financial aid. So
Gotcha.
EMT, CNA, things like that.
Got it. Thank you.
Nodded in.
Mm-mm.
Appreciate it.
So do we have instructor, faculty, staffing for this
Yes,
type of certificate?
yep. Actually, I've got 2 faculty right now that teach these classes. Well, 3, actually, there's 3, because we've added the global employability seniors, because what we found out was K-State doesn't teach K-State students how to create resume and interview skills.
In the College of Business, they do.
In the college business, but these are not business majors.
Mostly.
Sarah, you said you have a couple of instructors.
Uh-huh.
This is gonna put additional requirements on those instructors
Mhm.
to be able to meet this and negotiate an agreement, how.
Actually, it will, right now, because of some of the changes that the board has made in regards to discontinuing some programs, we have an instructor who is going to need these courses to meet the associated agreement. So it actually kind of works out quite well. I had this planned.
Any other questions or discussion?
What do you expect the capacity to be, the number of students that you'd be able to offer this to, capacity and also anticipated enrollment right away?
Before, when we had the biotechnology program fully functioning, fully going a few years back, I think our maximum might end up being around 10 or so. And so our max actually is only 12. And so the students that come out of that, the biology and the chemistry BSN, they may be going to be instructors within secondary. They may be going on to a master's degree. They may have different focuses. And so us having that maximum enrollment works quite well because it's that individualized instruction given through the curriculum. Additionally, when we had the Dean's Council on site, I am in conversations with the dean over the science areas, and we're talking about trying to set up a 3+1. So then that way they're working through completing their bachelor's within chemistry or biology, but then at some point within their senior year, they'll actually send them over here. So they're not having added time. It actually works into their degree path already. And they'll come here and we'll go ahead and give them that training hands-on. And so he's been talking to me about capacity as well.
In our discussions with the deans from K-State and the chamber, we have the ability to, compared to most of higher ed, we can work fairly fast, but depending upon what the community may attract and scaling it up, this is going to be an issue, frankly. It's scary. So again, as we've had, and I appreciate very much the chamber and K-State have included us. They've realized they need us to help land these companies. One of the other things is we've talked about potential marketing strategies with everybody. One of the first ones is reaching out to Fort Riley, which those people who plug into these jobs, military training would help reduce the time for skills training. So that's going to be a definite target. Companies we've been able to visit with a little bit are also open to high school kids. So again, this will open up some new opportunities through Excel and CTE concurrently. All of that to create that scale of workforce for this area to attract those kind of industries. That's the whole purpose with K-State and NBAF. Fortunately, we put things in place along that wing of the building over the last several years. As one visitor said, I got a feeling we might make you look pretty good.
Unfortunately, because of the facilities, I can't increase the max as it is. So in working with the designs and the potential growth and everything, we are looking at increasing, having bigger space, kind of very similar to what's in, you know, the Wilmington Center with the new science labs over there, so that we can increase our capacity.
We've also had discussions with the Chamber and K-State, shared facilities. If we could get support from the SMART group for what we're wanting, increase the things there, but of course it would be shared space because K-State doesn't have what we have, so how do we give them access to it? We would need a motion to approve.
Any other discussion? Set the motion to approve the biotech proposal.
So moved.
Properly moved, on second.
Second.
6-0. Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Facility, we'll start with you. Put you on the spot.
Get ready.
Well, so starting over in Wamego, we finished the final punch list for building two, so it's fully checked and ready to go. Ready to move forward with more classes in the fall. Building 3, we're also fired up, getting ready to start the demo of the floor and some different things that we're actually going to handle in-house to help with the budget side of that a little bit with the maintenance team and renting some equipment. We'll be starting project meetings on that building very shortly. If you drove by the front, you probably saw the big mess up where you come in the main entrance. We talked about it the past board meetings a couple times about fixing the drainage issues up there. Alert, our roofing crew, was here to do their part today and yesterday as well to add some gutters and things to fix that. And then our maintenance crew at the same time is working on adding the bigger tube, so we had to do a bunch of dirt work. It's a mess right now, but it's what needed to happen to fix the issue, and then we're working, dressing it up and making it look nice after the fact.
It looks like a scene from Tremors right now.
Yeah.
You said punch list on building 2. That includes or does not include the auto bays?
Does not include.
Does not include, correct.
That's more of a even phase 4, call it phase 4.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5A.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, because I know last week when we were over there that the bays weren't ready to go for the automotive side.
You know, there's quite a bit, there's some big pieces of equipment that we're hoping to work with the industries over there to get to meet it before we can offer similar to what we did with the high.
Yeah, if we can get the tax credit bill through the legislature, that will help. It's probably the first year, maybe second year, when we aimed at Wamego. Last years of that. Seeing the buzz in the paper and everything, which has spurred a lot of good conversation and requests for meetings. Harry and I are going to meet with Commissioner Ford soon. City government had good talks with Dr. Wade in the school district because everybody realizes they're going to have to get involved if this is going to happen. Sarah's still working with BBN, so we put together more specifics of what goes where and build out, share information. I sat through a community something or other 6-hour daycare conference Friday. Gary, Potawatomi, Riley counties. And a lot of what I felt all along, you know, we can put a program in. The kicker is, are you going to find people who want to work in daycare because of the pay? And they're talking good strategies because they need a combination of home-based daycare as well as centers. So we'll stay active in trying to help, but there's no easy answer for that. Some data I was looking at today, current job shortage as far as workers in the country is 3.2 million. Yeah, we're good to go.
And the turnover in the daycare industry right now is tremendous.
Yeah.
You have people that believe they want to do it, they get in there and start dealing with other people's kids. And,
Right.
Change your
they
mind.
leave.
And we've spent just as much time talking about the fact that you got to learn how to run a small business, not
Yes.
just babysitting, right?
Mhm.
Then you get something like COVID.
Mhm.
So, yeah, but at the same time, it's got to be addressed or you're not going to get people back in the workforce. everybody's reaction to the concepts and everything publicized has been very positive. Grow Green, yeah, there's stuff coming up to talk about. K-State. Grow Green's coming up on April 22nd. It's on the last page.
I know, I believe me, and I got.
Yeah, they got it. Hannah's gonna be, we're working on material to email to people about that day. They're not doing as much down at Community Foundation. It's not like in the old days where masses of people do, because again, it's mostly by email. We have National CTE Signing Day here, April 14th. Neil, anything you want to say about that at open house?
We have those two events coming up. Dan's got flyers with all the information on it that we can hand out and give you guys before you guys leave today. Obviously, open house, open the entire community. If you guys have never had an opportunity, the board members, anyone, to see all of our programs or all the areas and actions with our students, giving hands-on demonstrations to the public, great opportunity to stop by. It's from 9 to 1, noon to 1. We'll probably have some type of food catered and available. So if you want to do like the noon to 1 hour, that's the best hour. From that standpoint, CTE Signing Day, for those that aren't familiar with NC3, which is the National Coalition
Certification Centers.
I was going to get there. Yeah, appreciate it though, because I was going to stumble. Started up with Washburn Tech, kind of replicating signing day, similar to what athletes get to experience with signing. So they basically, it's a day to celebrate students that are signing to enlist in CT career fields. So we basically invite all prospective students that are coming in for our career fields for fall 2022 and say, hey, sign your intent, and we kind of just celebrate them. We have some scholarships that we give out to the students, some prizes, some giveaways are available, and then we kind of just do a little new now or post kind of hors d'oeuvre kind of celebration at the end as well. So, we have a guest speaker for the event, Wayne Sloan from VHS, that will be talking to our students. So it's going to be a good event. It'll be the third year we're doing it. I'm hoping that it just continues to be a thing every single year, gets bigger and better every single year. So you guys have the opportunities to swing by, great. It will also be available and live streamed. So if you want to check it out online, you can do that as well. Open house will not be on live stream though, because there's not a whole lot of ways to do that, but we might have somebody going around and doing some Facebook live events and whatnot. So
Get Josh a helmet cam and you can just.
yeah, I'm not sure I could sell Josh on that one. I'm just trying to sell some of my team to do Facebook live stuff. I don't have that go-getter. That's just really dying to be a Facebook live person.
It's a drone up in the air.
Do what?
It's a drone.
Yes, that is a possibility. I don't know. I'll have to ask Bryant if his drone can do Facebook Live. I assume that ties to the phone and we can do that. We could probably also just upload videos of the drone. So working with Marky to figure out some cool, unique ways of actually doing some of those things. So
We're also looking, with your permission, of doing the April board meeting at the Wamego Center. To see that. And one of the things we'll probably bring up at that meeting on the agenda will be to review terms for board members. So we start looking at any potential renewals, changes, seeking other board members.
Any issue with that right now? Meeting at the Wamego Center.
Great idea.
I'd like to have board meetings there at least once a year.
Or a retreat.
Things have been so busy the past 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It's just, I mean, they're always busy. I'm busier than ever. That's what's scary. It's going through my head. I think we are ready to go to Brian and the faculty senate report. It's all right, Jerry.
it's okay with me. Hi, Brian.
How's it going?
Good, we're trying to beat the storm, man. I gotta get my vet back in the garage.
You're fine. Yeah, well, if you want to do a retreat at the Walmego Center, you can come during one of my classes. I'd be more than happy to have you guys in there.
We said retreat, not sleep.
No, I'll keep you awake. Trust me. Ask Sarah. She gets to observe me. I'll keep you awake.
He'll ask you questions. You don't want to go.
Sarah doesn't observe you.
Well, she used to. Nathan liked it, didn't you?
It was great.
I was math and hard.
Brian, I heard some good things when we were at Walmego about your math classes.
Well, thank you. I'm actually got another date for you guys to put on your calendars. The Tulip Festival is coming up here the 23rd and 24th. So I was just talking with Suzanne, and almost all the slots are filled with faculty and or staff going over to man that. So pretty happy about that. I'm excited because last year I helped with it, and really we only had my class there at the time. And now that we're expanding more, I'm pretty excited about that because we have a flyer that has 17 summer classes that we're going to be handing out. And actually, I've got 4. I think public speaking is now going over there as well, once a week. And so is psychology. And I go over once a week as well. So I do a lecture on Tuesdays at Manhattan, and then I go over on Thursdays to do the lecture over there. So that way both places get to experience the lecture, and then I have it via Zoom for anybody else that if they don't want to make the drive. And I'm pretty excited about Rachel going over there and doing public speaking, because I know that a lot of students have really liked her class this semester. And I've heard some really good things about Callie, our adjunct, who is doing the psychology classes. And she's going to have a summer class. So I think things are definitely ramping up over there. I'm excited about it. One thing I was going to talk about too is kind of, you guys were talking about online. And even though, say, for instance, my class is hybrid, I also have that online component to it. And Tim, I know you were asking about the online and that, because one of the things I was talking with my students, because I have 19 in my class right now in the morning, there's at least 2 or 3 going to take statistics in the summer, but then some of them were talking about going on to Fort Hays, stuff like that, and zooming in to take the classes. And what's nice is, since my lectures are recorded, if they have a test or something, they can always go back and watch the video. So even though it's not exclusively online, we can make it, because I know Jason does a lot of his business classes with people in Wichita and Kansas City and so on. So with all the technology, Jim was talking about it with K-State. I think they would be really impressed to see, like, especially for our gen eds, how we can reach out to students, whether it's in state, out of state, doesn't matter. We can get to them. And then with the testing center, we're able to do our testing proctored with Darren. So I'm really excited. I think we have a lot of opportunity over there. I think we can definitely get it boosted up this fall, because I know Sarah's got the classes, but I know that the high school, we're definitely offering a lot more in the fall than we have been. So definitely a lot of room for growth. Did you guys have any questions for me?
Thank you, Brian.
If you do your retreat, you got to ask questions. You can't just sit there like my students, all right? Actually, my students do ask questions. I will say that. They're not afraid to ask questions. And I think Nathan saw that too. They even correct me if I make a mistake, which I like. So
The system works.
they're engaged. They're paying attention. Actually, there are times I will make a mistake on purpose just to see if they'll catch it, and they usually do. So,
Okay, we believe you.
Brian, thank you and the faculty for all the good things you're doing to help our students. Much appreciated.
Yep, really appreciate you, Brian.
thank you.
Okay. So
much time do we need?
This first one,
15?
Yep.